discover how the other person see reality, perceive your brand.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Growth and Scaling Podcast. I'm your host, Todd Westra, and today we are talking to an international man of mystery. Oh, you're going to love this episode. Our guest today has been able to take and build not just any product or service international, but the fact that it's a professional service blows my mind, because products can be manufactured, packaged, sold, relabeled, sold, all those things. It's very easy to take a product international, but how do you take professional services international? Well, our next guest is a professional designer. He is an artist. He has a way of marketing, a methodology of building marketing that will blow your mind. We're going to dive into that a bit, and we're going to dive into how he's been able to expand more than anything into over 20 countries with hundreds of people using his framework of design to help impact and empower businesses all over the world. It is a fascinating story because I've never really heard anything like this before. Typically, these types of design theories and concepts stay within the realm of the designer, but Raul has been able to take his concepts, his methodology into not only books in the published form, but through licensing and subcontracting to people all over the world to implement and build people's marketing on the backbone of his framework. I love this story. And if you have ever thought about how do I take my concepts, how do I take my services international, this is an episode for you. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the content that we're producing here for you. If you want to hear more, if there's something you wish I would have asked, throw it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. We love your participation, and we hope to gain more traction with you as we build content for you. Please help us build this channel by like, share, subscribing. We'll see you at the end of this interview. Thanks so much. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Growth and Scaling Podcast. Today, we got a big international flavor we're going for today. I love business owners who have been able to take a business and grow and scale into multiple marketplaces. And today, our guest has done that. Raul, will you please introduce yourself? Who are you, and who do you like to help with your business?
Thank you, Todd. I'm so glad to be here with you. I'm an Italian guy who traveled the world, and pursuing his dreams, found his inspiration. I'm an experienced designer. That's my main motivation in my working life. But also, I'm founder of a design company in the States. We created a methodology, human-centered design methodology, which has been acclaimed in the world. We have implemented in 50 countries. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing the level of explosion that methodology has. On the other hand, I'm a writer. I have wrote 6 books. I would say that from those 6 books, I love more than anything 3 of them. One has been forwarded by Don Peppers, the inventors of one-to-one marketing, the famous Don Peppers. Wow. The other one, I wrote a book with Philip Kotler, the father of modern marketing, designing writing the design chapter. And then my last one, which is here, is Love by Design. Those kind of books that you don't find in the bookstores anymore,
Love it.
Big, with every page in color,
pictures and graphs and charts,
very
and everything.
Easy, very Instagrammer, so and then I have 2 more occupations in my life. I'm a vocational professor. I teach in Japan, in the US, in France. I love to teach design. I mean, that's my. I love to travel to teach. I mean, so that's incredible. Yeah. And finally, I think that I'm a speaker. Because I love to share my stories on the stage. So I mean, it's a very, I would say, full of joy professional life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. In America, and you know this because you've been all over the world, but in America, it's hard for most Americans to think outside of English. and we have a hard time imagining anything happens in the world without it being done
You're
in
right.
English. And with you growing up in Italy and also growing up part of the time in Argentina, you read and write in Spanish, French,
Italian.
I'm guessing Italian, German,
even Portuguese, because they're so
of course,
so close.
Of course.
So yeah, I mean, if you are on you're on the tour, if you are on the road, you need to speak their languages. Yeah, and that
I agree.
You're very right. I mean, in the States, I was reading a study saying that 75% of people don't even consider any other languages. So
right.
So
right.
And I found it so important in order to connect with other cultures, people. So it's very important.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that inspires me about your business is that you do UX design. You're all about that customer experience. You create the customer interface for the clients. Guys like you inspire me because sometimes you can have a really great product and have a really crappy interface and the product goes nowhere. But guys like you have a tendency to come into a great product and make it so much better because you're able to adapt the product into something people will actually want to go with touch and feel.
Absolutely.
How do you look at a new project, and how do you look at, to be honest, I'm kind of astounded that you're in 20 different countries. Yes. You've got consultants, literally hundreds of them all over the place, working with different clients of yours. How do you adapt to each of the different cultures and the different user types and tell me how that works. That's just amazing to me.
It's a great question, and it's a very easy answer. I mean, the key to do that, the key to manage that kind of complexity is to focus on the other person, because each person has their own answers. So when you go to Japan, I mean, you need to take your American mindset out of you and start and do proactive listening and try to learn from their culture, how they do things, how do they interpret life and everything around. And you know what, in our methodology, the foundational rock is it's the mental model of the other person. We have developed, working with neurology, we have developed a way to decode every person's mental code. So that's very, very enlightening, because there is when you discover how the other person see reality, perceive your brand, where are their pains, their goals, their desires. Once you have that, the rest of the work is just applying some design tools. You can use different kind of approaches, but I mean, the most difficult part is to understand the others, and to do that, you need to understand how they perceive reality, how do they create perception.
Totally. And do you have a methodology for doing that? Because I mean, I think a lot of people, like I said earlier, most Americans only think of America. Even the Brits, and Australia, other English-speaking countries, sometimes Americans have a really hard time even adapting to other English speakers, let alone, like you mentioned, Japan and other cultures that are so different in contrast to America.
I mean, we have our own methodology. We in UMUNTU CX Design, we developed our own methodology, and it's one of the more claimed human-centered design methodology in the last 10 years.
I love it.
And you know what? The reason why is because we have I would say, an extra sensibility to create this empathetic link with the other. It's a bridge. You need to build that bridge right to the next person. Maybe being Italian, growing up in Argentina, I mean, they provide me with that kind of sensibility, because
I love it.
We are like people-oriented cultures, you know.
Yeah, I think that there's no doubt. Any person in America knows that of all the European countries, Italians are definitely the most creative, most friendly, and most. They're just very design-centric. In my
design
opinion.
is everywhere there.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, when you write the Vespa, and it's part of my book. I mean, I wrote a chapter in here. I wrote the chapter just talking about Vespa, because I mean, I love that Italian design concept. I mean, it's the real design thinking. I mean, they think about
really
design
is.
and applied it to every single details of their lives.
I love it. So now take a step back, and now we know what you do, who you like to serve, and all that kind of good stuff. Tell us about your growth cycle in your business. I mean, surely you started in one country, and then how did you kind of go from being one place? It sounds like you've got a place in Miami. How have you grown that into 20 different marketplaces? Yeah. And tell us about your favorite part of that growth journey.
Well, I consider my business like a child. And when you have your own child, I mean, you see a lot of potential in him, but you need to nurture it. You need to nurture your business by adding new capabilities, by teaching you new ways of doing things, by exposing it to new challenges. Facing, and that is what we did. Every single new market we got in, because I mean it was a challenge. I mean we sit down with all the team and we try to figure it out, and understanding what was going to be to work on those difficult conditions. But when you see your business as it was your own child, I mean, you nurture it. I mean, and you make it solid. But finally, and I think that's the most important ingredient. It's you need to let him free. I mean, he has. I mean, he has to go out. Go to France. And do his own work. I mean, because if you try to be on every single detail doing micromanagement, I mean, you're gonna kill
the child will run away.
Exactly. He will become a rebel. So,
hey there, friends. This is Todd. Running a business, honestly, can leave a lot of founders and operators feeling lonely and isolated. If you have ever felt that way, trust me, I know what it feels like. And there is something you can do about it. You've heard a lot of our guests talk about the fact that being lonely and isolated is one of their biggest challenges in trying to run and scale their business. CaptainsCouncil.com. Go to CaptainsCouncil.com right now and see what we're doing to resolve this problem. We want you to be a strong operator who has solutions and has a way to get around the challenges you're currently facing. What most founders don't understand is that you're not alone. The challenges that you're facing, likely somebody else has already overcome, and they can give you the feedback you need to overcome them. Who better than your peers, other founders, other operators who are joining with you in a small group setting, a global community setting, as well as at our in-person events to guide you through these challenges that you're facing right now. Don't give up, keep on pushing, but do it with some good advice from your peers. Go check it out at CaptainsCouncil.com and let me know what you think about the offering. We can't wait to see you there. So how do you, as a parent of your company, how do you look at where you want that child to grow up into? What is your vision, I guess, for that growth journey? Where do you want to see this business go?
It's my nature to imagine future scenarios, and actually that's part of my job today. I mean, we are designing, and that's probably the most interesting part of our work. We are not only designing service experience, for saying clearly. I mean, we are not just changing or modifying or improving services processes. What we are doing is we are imagining stories that never happened. We are imagining that kind of future we all want from the brand perspective. So my vision, my mind always is thinking about how can we improve that future. It was nature. It was part of my nature. So when I thought about my business, I thought that I wanted to make it international. I mean, I didn't want to make an Italian company or an American company only. I mean, this is something that has a purpose behind, and the purpose is you need to change the world. You need to make this world a better place. But how? By changing one person at a time's life. I mean, you need to change your square meter around and modifying some matters that are affecting people. That's why our methodology is not only good for brands, it's also great for societies, for cities. We are working in Africa, for instance, helping small communities to get clean water or have a decent healthcare service. I mean, that's what we're talking about, and
that's great.
We are not only here for the money. I mean, we have that purpose, and the purpose complete everything.
So how do you take that awesome growth journey? I love your analogy of the child. Tell us about your biggest challenges that you've hit in trying to grow and trying to expand into different cultures, countries, and do this kind of growth explosion.
Again, I'm talking about the child. Our main challenge is the immaturity. When you don't have the right level of maturity to go out there, and playing hard, and so you need to look like you are ready, but sometimes you're not. So you need to accept some challenges, and you need to to take a risk, and
okay, so tell me about that, because I love where you're going with this, because I think most founders have a tendency to want to mature before they actually put it out there as an immature product. If you do that, what's the problem with that?
The windows of opportunity could close before you are ready.
I love it.
You need to go right through the window of opportunity now, because now it's open, and then you need to have something. You need to have a knowledge base, obviously, some tools, some philosophy, whatever you need to do your work, but you need to go forward. I mean, because if you don't do that, I mean, maybe someone else will be ready before you. And you will lose the opportunity. And let me tell you, this world is getting so much competitive. I mean, the technology. When you see in which businesses companies like Google are getting in, you realize that technology is onboarding every single market. So So it's not like, I don't know, maybe my grandfather in the early 20th century opened a restaurants, in Italy, and probably he was the guy who made the best fusillis, in the world, but nobody knows that, But today everybody knows how to make fusillis, and you got a video, and maybe you are a better cooker than my grandfather. So
here's my question then, because I think a lot of founders get stuck here. They have a tendency to get stuck in, oh my gosh, well, Google's doing this. Oh my gosh, Facebook or Meta just did this, and there's no way I can launch my business anymore. How do you pull people out of that mindset? Because I think a lot of people doubt the fact that, hey, as a small to mid-sized company, I'm way more nimble. I can service a much more focused audience than someone huge like a Google or Meta or something like that.
I think it's a matter of partnership. Yeah. I mean, you don't need to see them as enemies or competitors. You need to see them as enablers. I mean, they will help you reach the next level. And the second truth is, you cannot reach that level alone, at least not in a decent time frame, because you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You know what? In the early in the year 2000, I have my own startup, and then I learned that we lost the window. All our community, our internet community, by that time, lost the window of opportunity, because we were like working inside of us, and we're trying to keep our secrets inside, and we're
Right.
And now it's completely the opposite. I mean, you need them. You need to work with Google.
It's so funny. We do need them. It's so funny. The other day, it was my birthday last week, and my wife and some of my kids put together a little sign on the wall that said, "Businesses Dad has started," right? And there was a list of like 35 companies on that poster board, and I was just laughing because I said there's actually more than that, and most of them never made it past infancy, because I think too many business founders feel like, oh no, Google just did that, there's no way this is gonna work, or oh, these guys just did that, there's no way it's gonna work. The reality is, if you're passionate about it and somebody else bigger is doing it, that should validate to you that the idea is good, right? And you can leverage that.
It's the perfect proof that you are on the right track. Then you need to shorten the life cycle, because other way you could be stuck in the middle, and try to speed it up as much as you can, because this is a race, and not always in this race the best player wins. Sometimes the faster wins. The one who reach first the goal. So I think that.
And sometimes there's more than one
absolutely.
winner, right?
Also, that's another truth, big truth. I mean, there's like segments in the race. I mean, you can be the winner of a small race inside the race.
Own your niche and win that part of the race,
exactly.
Right?
And sometimes that just do it. The Nike's claim works, because I mean, you need to just do it your own, your own meal,
right?
And you will find a spot, and you will accommodate your company to the market that you can reach and earn. So I think that entrepreneurs shouldn't be that worried about fighting the big monsters, other than how to build themselves as
great advice,
stronger, wiser, faster. I think that's a new set of competencies.
I love it. Now tell us, I've found that almost every founder has someone in their circle that they look at as an inspiration to them and has kind of helped them stay focused on their company and finish the journey that they've set out to do with their growth journey. Do you have a shout out that you'd like to give today of someone who's inspired you in your growth journey?
I have two mentors in my life, my professional life.
Awesome.
First of all, in my personal life, my parents, my father actually was like a big example to me in order to focus on your next fight. Don't worry about what you have lost. You will have a next. The next opportunity is where you need to focus on. But also, in my professional career, I had the luxury of meeting and working with two big names, which are Don Peppers, the inventor of the marketing one-to-one concept. It's a huge disruptive idea in the early 90s. and he forwarded Beyond Customer Experience, my third book. Then the other one, and I learned from him that there's always new opportunities, that you need to reinvent yourself. He never wants to talk about one-to-one marketing because it's something that it's on his past, It's an incredible breakthrough in the marketing industry. He wants to look forward, he wants to focus on our next challenge. And the second one is Philip Kotler, the father of modern marketing. It's a 92 years old guy, and he taught me how to think about future. A 92 years old guy is talking to me, teaching me how to deal with the future. So I mean, it was the most inspiring lesson I learned in
I love
career.
it.
Definitely.
Raul, I love it. And you've got books. We're gonna post a link to each of your books down below, as well as links to your other social media places where you hang out. Thank you so much for being here today. You've been an inspiration to me. I know that much, and I'm so grateful for the knowledge you've imparted to our listeners today. Anything else you want to add? Where can people find you? Where are you most commonly hanging out online?
No, babe, I think that the most crowded place to find me is LinkedIn. I mean, I'm one of the founders. I reached the 30,000 level like 8 years ago. So I'm there every time. I'll also on Instagram, which is because it's very visual and I can share there. When we do workshops and when we organize these kind of virtual meetups. So feel free to contact me. They're all open, so I will be more than happy to stay in contact with you guys.
I love it. Hey, Raul, thank you so much for being here, and we look forward to seeing everyone else on the next episode. Thanks, Raul.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed that interview. If you did, tell us why you enjoyed it. What did you like? What were some things that you learned from this interview that will help you grow and scale your business? Leave it in the comments, leave it in the show notes, and we will look forward to reading and catching up with you and engaging with you in the comments of this interview. Thank you so much for being here. If you know people that need to hear this, please don't hesitate to like, share, and subscribe. By you doing that, it helps us build the channel and it helps us build our ability to get you stronger, better guests on the show. So thank you so much for being a part of our show and our community. We look forward to joining you in yours, and we look forward to having you learn more about how we can help you grow and scale your business by being a part of this community on this podcast. We'll see you on the next episode of the Growth and Scaling Podcast.